Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars, welcome to another top 10 list. Today's top 10 list is my top 10 favourite directors. Boy oh boy have I toiled over this list for a number of weeks. Easily one of the most difficult lists I've ever had to put together. And as usual with my top 10 lists, I don't give you a top 10 of who I think you want to see as my favourite directors. This is genuine, and I do this with all my top 10s. I don't pander to an audience. I genuinely give you my thoughts on who my favourite top 10 directors are. And it's not me saying these are the best directors. These are the directors whose films have spoke to me more over the years, or I've had a connection with more of their movies than other directors. There are some people that will give you a top 10 list and you'll have your Alfred Hitchcocks on there, your John Fords and your Kubricks and the Scorseses and all this kind of stuff, and I'm not here to knock any of those directors. They're all fantastic directors, but I either haven't grown up with those movies, or some of those movies haven't spoken to me at certain points in my life. All the directors on this list, like I say, have had an impact on certain points in my life, and I do think they're all very, very high quality directors, and they've got a great body of work, and I do think some of them are highly underrated as well. So I hope you enjoy this list. As always, let me know in the comments what your favourite directors are. I'm always interested in hearing that. So we will move on with this list. As always, there are some honourable mentions, and the honourable mentions I want to talk about here is, the first one is Ron Howard. Very, very reliable director. You know, if you're watching a Ron Howard film, you're probably going to get a really well made, well directed, high quality film. I do think sometimes he's underrated, as I think all these three here that I'm going to mention are underrated. Peter Hyams, he's made some brilliant films. Capricorn 1, Running Scared, the 80s classic that I did an 80s classic film review on a few months ago. The Relic is a very, very good, strong, reliable director, and I've enjoyed many of his films. And Walter Hill, I think a very overlooked director, has made some brilliant films. The Warriors, 48 Hours, Red Heat, really fantastic action director. You know, when you're watching a Walter Hill film, has got a very distinct style, and all of these three are worthy of an honourable mention, I think. So coming in at number 10, I'm putting Wolfgang Peterson, a brilliant director. He's made films like In the Line of Fire, the Clint Eastwood classic, Das Boot, Air Force One, Poseidon, The Perfect Storm. He's made so many great films. He's got a great visual style, very good at directing actors. He could do small scale films, big scale films, big budget films. Honestly, a really great body of work from Wolfgang Peterson. And you know, when you see a film directed by Wolfgang Peterson, you're going to see something really good. And I couldn't honestly point out to you a really poor film that has been directed by Wolfgang Peterson. So I think he's quite overlooked, but I think he deserves to be on this list. Coming in at number 9 is Tim Burton. I think one of the most visually distinctive directors out there. He's got an incredible style, who's made some obviously really impressive films over the years. Batman, Beetlejuice, Big Fish, which is arguably my favourite Tim Burton film. There are some films that he's done that are a little bit too much out there for me. You know, the Alice in Wonderland ones I'm not keen on. I'm not keen on his Charlie and the Chocolate Factory one. And there are a number of films that I'm not enamoured with. But he's a director that really takes risks. And again, he's got such a stamp on his films, a visual stamp, that you know immediately you're watching a Tim Burton film. And one of the most creative and imaginative directors out there that still keeps creating wonderful films. Coming in at number 8, Quentin Tarantino. Simply put, he's never made a bad film. I know he hasn't made a huge amount of them, but he's got such a love for film, and that translates into his movies so clearly. I think the trilogy films that he made, we made Inglourious Bastard, and then Django Unchained, and then The Hateful Eight. I mean, I think those films are almost perfect, them three. And obviously we've got Pulp Fiction in there. Fantastic director. He keeps saying he's going to do one more film and then quit. I don't think he should. I don't think it's fair to his fans and his audience. We want to see more films from him. He's a brilliant director, and he's proved he can pretty much direct anything. Coming at number 7, another, I think, underrated director, Richard Donner. Great body of work, hugely reliable, and has had a big impact on my life with the movies that he has made. Superman the movie is one of the earliest films I went to see at the cinema, and it's certainly arguably still the best Superman movie. I think it probably is. The Lethal Weapon series, a film series that is so close to my heart, I can't tell you. I absolutely adore it. It's one of my favourite film series of all time, all handled expertly by Richard Donner. He's done The Omen. He's done so many films, Richard Donner. He's proven he can direct anything. He doesn't just stick to one genre, and he's a brilliantly, highly reliable director. Coming at number 6, another guy who I don't think has made a bad film yet is Christopher Nolan. I wasn't overly enamoured with his most recent one, Tenet, but that's not to say it's a bad film, because I don't think it is. It's brilliantly directed, and it's very visually inspiring and all that kind of stuff. But you just look at his body of work, he's such a fantastic director. You've got the Dark Knight trilogy. I personally think the greatest trilogy of all time, and I'm really putting that out there, I know. Inception, Memento. Wow, I mean, he could do it all, he can direct it all, and he's got such a wonderful, distinct style into his directing. I think he's such a class act, Christopher Nolan, and you know you're getting a real quality film if you're watching a Christopher Nolan film. I love his films. Coming in at number 5, James Cameron. What could you say about this guy? I think what I will say is I think James Cameron would have been further up this list if it wasn't for his obsession with the Avatar films and his lack of work over the last few years, last decade or so. You know, he's not been particularly active over the years. So I think we deserve to get more James Cameron films from him, because the quality that he's put out there over the years, Terminator, Aliens, Titanic, The Abyss, True Lies, Terminator 2, wow, such an impressive director. I don't think there's any debate there. He creates smash hits, but he's also a brilliant director. Because he came from a special effects background, he can handle those films effortlessly. Coming in at number 4, Clint Eastwood. You knew this guy were going to make the list. I'm such a big Clint Eastwood fan. But just taking Clint Eastwood out of the equation as an actor, when you look at his body of work as a director, everything he's directed over the years, from Play Misty for Me right up to his modern day stuff, wow, what a director. I think he's an absolute legend, both on screen and off screen. And you look at his work, Unforgiven, $1 Million Baby, American Sniper, to say nothing things like Heartbreak Ridge, you know, and all these other brilliant films he's directed. You could literally carry on listing great Clint Eastwood films that he's directed, and I think he's one of the all-time great American directors, and obviously actors. Coming in at number 3, John Carpenter. My favourite horror director, simple as that. He has created some of the most iconic horror films over the years, but not just horror films. He has obviously delved into other areas. Escape from New York, Big Trouble in Little China, but Halloween and The Thing, for me, are right up there of two of the greatest horror films that have ever been made. And that's no accident. That goes to show you how creative and how talented John Carpenter was and still is. I think he's underused these days. I still think with the right material he could give us an absolute stone cold classic. I'm very excited he's still involved in the Halloween series. Hopefully steering that continually in the right direction, but one of the all-time greats. Coming in at number 2, Ridley Scott. Wow, what could you say about Ridley Scott? His body of work speaks for itself. Blade Runner, One of the greatest science fiction films and most influential of all time. Alien, again, one of the most influential science fiction films stroke horror films of all time, and he's continued into the modern era with smash hits like Gladiator, The Martian, that is just incredible. Say what you want about his involvement back into the Alien franchise. Some people take them films or leave them. I'm not overly keen on them, if I'm honest. But you can't argue that they're still very visually arresting, and he's still got great talent, and I think one of the greatest of all time. There can only be a number one on this list, and it can only be, in my opinion, Steven Spielberg. I think Steven Spielberg is the greatest director that has ever lived. That's a bold statement, I do realise that, but he has continued to speak to me as a director from a young child, going into the cinema as a youngster to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, being hypnotised by that, and E.T., Close Encounters, Jurassic Park, into his modern stuff, Ready Player One, and of course you've got Jaws, one of the greatest films of all time, easily, and Schindler's List, that is such a powerful film, such an emotive film, that it's a film I struggle to watch more than once. I've only ever watched it once. I don't think I could watch it again because it has such deep impact on me. That is something special, as is this director. Truly, I think the greatest director of all time. So there you go, guys. That is my top 10 favourite directors. I'm not gonna lie, I really did toil over this list for a good long while. It wasn't an easy list to do. It really wasn't. And I'm, like I say, let me know in the comments what your favourite directors are, because I'm sure there will be some that will be vastly different to mine. But I think when you analyse your favourite directors, you'll probably look at their body of work and make a connection to some of their films, you know, that you've watched of their films that have, you know, made an impact on your life at one point. And all of these directors on this list and the honourable mentions, there's films in there that have spoke to me over the years. And as I say, guys, I never want to do any type of fake top 10 lists. I do see a lot of fake top 10 lists out there where people put on their lists top 10 films that they think you want to see because they think they should be on a top 10 list. That's not how I work, you know. I will always just be honest on my lists and give you my opinions on my personal favourites. But as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to your comments, and I will be back obviously with more content on the channel very soon.